everybody, and welcome to the December 12th, 2023 meeting of the Accessibility Advisory Commission of Grafton. I'm Rob Polselli, your chair and host for this evening, and happily our last meeting, I think, for the year too, which is a nice little bonus. I've promoted Adam up to panelist rather than having him sit over on the side. He's the only person or only other attendee, so just so everyone here is informed, he's officially in the room. And if we are all in agreement, Adam, if you're really the one that would matter the most for, but I'm not going to go through the whole script with all the rules, if that's all right. Okay. We've all heard it plenty of times. I'm sure you have as well. Good to do when there's others listening, but yeah, not necessarily. So, or not necessary for just us. So excellent. So that being said, as a preliminary matter, let me confirm all members are blah 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 are present. When I call your name, if you can respond in the affirmative. Alexis Henry. Oh, sorry, Alexis. Oh, you flipped away
Okay,
for a
present.
second. Excellent. Bob Berger,
Here.
Catherine Dupuis,
Here.
Paul Letourneau,
Here.
Christy Proctor,
Here.
Roger Trahan,
Here.
and Rob Polsnelli is here. And again, Adam is also joining us. And again, thank you so much for taking the time. All right, Bob. Oh, he's already gone. I was just going to say, yeah, if you want, you can go, but there you go. All right, let me just tuck that away. Everybody, I am getting over a cold and I have a little bit of a lingering cough. I will try to use the mute button as much as I can so that you don't have to listen to me. But if I do start, I apologize in advance. So hopefully it won't be much. Brief list of announcements. And I think after that, if everyone's okay with it, we can move into the discussion on the rec department camping program accessibility so that we don't have to keep Adam all night. So the very brief announcement, December 3rd, 2023 was International Day of Persons with Disabilities. The World Health Organization had a nice link on their website or a nice webpage set up, just talking about it a little bit. But just a day to recognize people with varying abilities that are out there and that they do need sometimes some different supports, but they do contribute a lot as well. So encourage everyone to find the link on our agenda. You can go and check it out if you'd like. And that was the only announcement that I had for this month. Did anybody else have any other announcements? All righty. Very good. All right, then we are going to move to where are we at here? Agenda item number 5, Grafton Rec Department Camp and Program Accessibility. Again, it's just in the vein of not having Adam have to listen to us here all night. So the first part, I did receive an update from Adam, and I'm just going to defer to you here in 1 second. But basically that you've partnered with I actually don't have the thing up in front of me. I'll just defer right now.
Perfect.
Sorry.
So we even prior to meeting with you all, I've had some experience with a vendor who normally or traditionally has worked up in the North Shore called Inclusion. It's spelled INCL, the word U, Jin. So it's a new vendor. They're fairly new to Massachusetts as a whole, but they've done a lot of work up in the North Shore, and their primary focus is inclusion style sports. And they were already on my radar prior to meeting with you all a month ago. But we're very excited that they have jumped on board to support us this spring, which is really exciting. The only caveat and snag is staffing. They need staff. They're willing to train. They provide all the equipment. So I did send Rob kind of the flyer just advertising the need for those coaches. They do get paid through this organization. From what I've seen from the description of the program, it seems like a great opportunity for kids of varying abilities to get involved. The instructor to participant ratio is 1 to 5. which is really great. And also they have been working closely with Lisa Drennan, if anybody's familiar. She's a consultant through Merge. She's been supportive of the actual organization to be able to make sure that all of the programs are as inclusive as possible to everybody of varying ability. So really excited for that. But again, the last snag is staffing. So if you know anybody who's interested, pass the message along. I did send Rob the flyer. I'm not sure if you guys got it, but he can, of course, send that information to you all. We've been posting it all over our Facebook page and on the Facebook pages that the rec department's connected to. So feel free to share away. Great opportunity for high school kids to get involved, or even just college kids that are local. So just wanted to kind of do that selfish plug for that program, because that's really the only thing that will stop us from doing this is getting staff for that program. So
Thank you so much, Adam, and no, not selfish at all. It's a fantastic effort. So the flyer has been included in our meeting packet for this evening, but I will actually forward the email to the commission here so that everyone's got the electronic version as well, because it's much easier to just forward it that way, isolated from all the other information that we've included in our packet. Christy?
Just a point of order for Adam. Adam, am I spelling this right? Inclusgen?
So it's INCLYOUSION.
Wait, YOU
SION.
SION. Thank you.
Yes. So it's inclusion sports. I've been trying to train myself to say it so I spell it right, because my brain trains it to say the other way. So
I know, but that's great. I like the play on the words. I get it now. Thank you.
Yeah, so inclusion sports is the vendor, and they do inclusion sports. So like I said, we're doing track and field and I'm blanking on soccer and track and field this session in the spring, and hopes to, if they do really well, do stuff in the fall as well. So
It's fantastic. Yeah, no, I was really excited to actually see the update come through. And yeah, a lot of those programs, they do really good work, and it's just the staffing. It's sort of the in the field in general, and anyone who works with individuals that might have a disability. I mean, this has been years in the making, but the pandemic has made it certainly even harder for most of those types of programs or supports. So unfortunately, it's not an uncommon story, but good for us to know a lot of people in different sort of aspects of support right here, in this small community that we have. So happily, yeah, we can help spread the word and see if we can help find somebody. And I assume too, it would just be one person. They wouldn't want to have that split, right, between.
they typically have 2 staff on at all times. So
Okay.
the program takes the max of 10. So they try to do 2.
Perfect. Good to know. Fantastic. All right. So that is sort of the update proper. So so the second part is sort of where we left off last time, folks. Just thinking about how best can we, as a commission, help support and advise, the rec department or specific programs within it as needed. And sort of suggested we all maybe kind of go off and think about it a little bit, see if we come up with ideas. And I also know during the meeting last time, Adam, I had asked you, sort of on the spot. But I would love to just hear if you have any, if you sort of had a little more time to, digest it and think about it some, if there's anything specific that you thought, where we might be able to help fill a hole that you've come across, or be supportive in some way that would, have that good direct impact that I think we would hope to provide.
Yeah, I mean, I think primarily now that we've gotten, I would call like the low-hanging fruit, the inclusion sports vendor kind of kicking off, the next step for me is how can we make sure that every one of our other programs can be inclusive as well. And that's a little bit more of an uphill battle. I've been working on creating some semblance of an intake assessment form that can hopefully evaluate children's needs. But that and how to practice that with these vendors has already kind of posed itself a challenge. And this is where I may lean into you all is, when I get these intakes, just to say, hey, obviously being, HIPAA safe, and just saying I have a child who has a varying ability. what can we do to support them? There are certain things that I just, that I'm familiar with, but there's just some things that were a particular need that might be very specific that I haven't had as much experience with. It'd be great to lean on this commission. I can make a visual schedule like anybody's business. I can do, those things like that. But if it's a particular ability that I really haven't been exposed to, it might be helpful to reach out to you all. So of course, we'll keep the lines of communication open.
Fantastic.
Because of course, I don't want any kid to be turned away from any of our programs or have a negative experience. I was really, Julie had come in and spoke with me prior to speaking with you all, and it really kind of put it in perspective for me is that, I just don't want kids to be thrown into a program that says they're inclusive or there's not an actual intentional effort to make it inclusive, and just throwing kids into a program because the vendor says they can take a child of a varying ability. So that intentionality might just be a little bit of a tag in from you all to get some support and guidance as I kind of get a little bit more experience in that regard. So yeah. So, and any trainings, Christy, thank you for sending the training. That was great. Things like that, would be very helpful. The team and I have really kind of taken, this is kind of where we're trying to take the department as a whole, is really focusing on how we can be more inclusive and how we can be more welcoming to everybody. So.
Fantastic. That's very helpful, Adam. Thank you very much. It's interesting too. I always think about that in terms of our commission and how we're constructed, the varying backgrounds that each of us has. There are bits and pieces in here that people have this expertise, like Mr. Berger. It's an easy one to point to with the architectural side of things and building requirements and things like that. I've never had to think about this. I think that what I've dealt with is probably more in line, Adam, with what a lot of what you're talking about. So it's wonderful to have access to people with a wider variety than we each bring in on our own. So very good. All right. Other folks? Anyone else have Mr. Letourneau?
Yes, I have a question. When we think recreation, we think physical activity. Are there other forms of recreation that are helpful to people with disabilities that you can think of?
At face value, I wouldn't say that any of our current programs that aren't physical are, I guess, have had the thought and intentionality behind making them more inclusive. We do offer, enrichment programs that don't involve a lot of physical activity, things like, like Lego camps and things like that. But again, I don't think the department, through not knocking any of the previous directors, just really hasn't had that intentional conversation of how can we make this program more inclusive for a child with this ability or this ability level. So that yes and no, if that's an answer to that question. So
I think I'm thinking in terms of abilities that can be improved upon other than physical, such as speaking or singing or expression of themselves. Those things are, for many people, very difficult to do, especially in front of other people. And I think it falls into the realm of a disability in some respects.
Yeah, I think a lot of our programs, are in any programs I've ever run in recreation, there's always that those secondary outcomes that you don't think about, things like social skills and how to work with others, and things you don't, when you plan a soccer program, you don't think about. But those are always, for me, I grew up in kind of that realm of programming. I was a Y kid growing up, and I learned a lot of the secondary skills. So that's something whenever I plan a program, is I'm always having the back of my head is how can we build those skills in, tricking kids to learn those skills without even knowing that they're learning them. So
yeah,
that's kind of my philosophy on programming as a whole is, anything that I do, when you're not just learning the physical skill, you're learning the secondary stuff as well.
For sure. Adam, the survey that went around as part of the strategic plan, was there a question in there, forgive me for not recalling, about like other types of activities that the community might like to see under sort of the rec umbrella, or was that not really broached?
Yeah, so the strategic plans focus more on the facilities themselves. There was a
okay.
little bit of a hint of the programmatic piece of it. My goal is, now that we've gotten over the grabbing subways to holidays, and I feel like our department can breathe. Yeah. My goal is to create some semblance of an annual survey that we can use. So when we're looking at programmatic stuff, we can look at, this program was great, this program needed some work, what do you want to see? Because what a program 10 years ago might have been relevant that isn't now, and vice versa. So that's my goal, is how can we track success and what does that look like? And that's part of what I'm going to be focusing on in the next couple of months.
I love that. No, I absolutely love that. And that's something else too, I don't know if you've done surveys and things like that in the past, but I'm sure there are a handful of folks here that have worked actively on public surveys before and would be happy to help even construct or at least chime in or anything like that might help too. That's a great idea though. I think too like just my own experience with my child going through early participant in graph rec camps, but ages out, and then it's a new crew of kids coming through and different interests and things like that. So I feel like that is something that just always evolves over time, and great to, I think, solicit that sort of feedback.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the quietest group tonight. Not complaining, it's just unusual. Christy.
So Adam, I can help you build different types of assessments. I mean, they could be as really simple for even the littles, as I call them, or they could be more cohesive, excuse me, surveys using Microsoft Forms or Google Forms or whatever. But that way you could get different types of assessments and then have a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And then, one thing my students hate, but we kind of have to do it, is after they visit every or any office on campus, they get a survey afterwards, with the smiley face. They hate it. They absolutely hate it. Okay. But that's a population that really gets oversaturated with surveys. But
And Christy, I'll interrupt for 1 second. Adam, Christy works at Quinsigamond. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had a quick chat at the
sorry.
And but for the littles, they might think that's really cool because no one asks them for anything. But I'd really be willing to help you try to develop a survey that could be used in a very accessible manner. And because depending on what types of incidental disabilities you may have, you might want something that's a more screen reader friendly version. Doesn't mean that everything has to be that way, but if you have to craft something in a specific format so that it's accessible, I'd be happy to help with that too.
Yeah, my goal is, hopefully, with whatever comes out of this survey, is that it's broad reaching, in the sense that I'm not having to do an individual survey for soccer, for basketball, for camp. I want it to be as specific but as broad as possible. So kind of finding that balance. But yeah, Christy, I'll definitely lean into you a little bit for that, because it'll just be easier to have one survey that we can send out versus saying, oh, is this a basketball survey we need to send out? Is this? So yeah, thank you for that.
So just so I'm
Alexis,
sure,
yes,
so
please.
you're surveying families and their kids about recreational. What's the? I think I'm a little unclear on the goal of the survey. What's the core question? What are the core questions that you would be asking?
So I haven't necessarily formed what the questions would look like yet, but my goal would be either once a year or at the end of every program. It's kind of tough, especially spring, summer, with all the programs we've got going on. But
Yeah.
my goal would be to ask some of the big questions, some open-ended question to say, what were your thoughts about the program? What would you like to see improved?
Okay.
And then, do you feel like the program met your child's needs?
Right. So
just
not so much like an assessment of what a kid might need coming into the program, but more their perceptions, their experiences of the whatever program they're participating in. Okay, that was the piece that I was a little unclear on. Whether it was something your staff wanted to do when a kid comes in.
Yeah, no, I think for when we're talking inclusion specifically, or children with varying abilities, we would do an assessment with them to see what their needs are, and then I would work closely with the vendors to say, hey, we've got a child with these needs. Here's the tools to be successful. And then maybe we evaluate them specifically to say, hey, mom and dad, here were the accommodations we made. Did they work? Did they not work? How can we do it next time? So when Sally does soccer, then does football, we know, what she needs.
Okay. So you do some sort of intake process, when a kid joins whatever program within the rec department's offering, to say, like, what are the kid needs of this kid?
Yes.
And that might be the parent who, gives you some information about what their what their kids' needs would be. And then you're going to survey the families to see what was their experience, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yes.
Thank you. That was helpful. Right.
Adam,
And
just
good work
yep.
to like,
yeah, I was just
it
gonna
sounds
say,
like you've made some real progress and really put a lot of thought into this. So, it's an iterative process to build out the capacity of the department, and, good work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a very fast 4 months since I've started. But I'm really excited about where the department is and where we're going. And it takes, communities like you all and supportive people in the community to be able to make it happen. So I appreciate all the support that I've been given from you all and from other departments as well. It's I think a lot of times, people think recreations is its own silo and that we just do our thing and we leave other people alone, which I think that dynamic is changing, not just in Grafton, but also in other communities where we need to work closely with other departments and other commissions to be able to meet the needs of everybody. Because, I don't live in Grafton, I live close to Grafton, but I don't know what the needs are in Grafton as much as a commission would or a citizen would or whatever. So it's really helpful to get that feedback, good and bad. I'm never going to turn away a bad comment. So.
Well, I think,
Absolutely.
Adam, what you have going for you is that really Jen started the momentum with doing the playgrounds, and now you're building on that foundation and going forward. And I think what you're representing is what we hope to see across the town, municipal wide. We want to see this really be a thoughtful process, that inclusion isn't an afterthought, that it's very pro inclusion and access friendly town. And really you're making, without us asking you to do this, you're making this easy for us in many ways, and we're just going to keep affirming and spreading this type of message that, yeah, if it can be done here, it can be done there. Let's think about ways we can work on this and collaborate like what you're doing. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm thinking too, even, when we get into, budget season, I know we just got through town meeting, but even things like that, I mean, these programs do cost money. You operate within a budget. Those are things that we definitely, from our side of the fence, I think have done before, is supporting, specific, questions, or warrants, writing letters of support, things of that nature as well. We would certainly be very, very willing and happy to, I'm sure, speaking on behalf of the group here, but to really, hear you out on any of those and provide whatever support seemed appropriate, based on those, because that's such a fundamental piece of it, right? If you don't have some funding available, you can't go out and find these, types of programs and get those supports. So definitely, yeah, keep us in mind for those types of activities too.
Yep.
Right, gang. So sounds like there has been some momentum in the rec department, which is fantastic. And I don't think it's just new, as Adam's indicating. This is something that really started before, even with Jen, the prior director, and just continuing. But it sounds like some of the next activities we might be helpful with might be helping a little bit with some of the, either the intake assessment form or the survey or follow up. In my head, I don't necessarily think we need to form a subcommittee for that, set aside whatever. I think it's more, to make sure Adam feels welcome to come to our group whenever he's ready to share materials or ask questions. So that being said, I don't think there's a need for a motion to sort of wrap this up, but if anyone has an idea or a different thought, I'm more than willing to hear. Mr. Chan.
Yes, thank you for coming, Adam. I just want to say that, the only way to move is improvement. I think we all learn from each other, and what's neat is that there are a lot of towns that are a little bit further along, but the cool thing about it is that a lot of them are nearby, and so we can actually probably just drive 15 minutes in any direction to see what maybe other towns may be doing. and seeing how they roll out a plan, you know, in real time. And they can do the same. In other words, even though we may not have a lot of stuff in place, when we do, people can then use us as an example. So we're all in this together, because it's not only people from town that use these programs. You think of just like Silver Lake and the accessibility features of the mats. People come from all over, you know, to use that facility. So, you know, it's neat that we also have towns nearby that are doing a lot, you know, in these areas.
Yeah, I've been in touch closely with Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury's director, she's fairly new. I think she's been there for a little over a year now. She's a CTRS, and she's kind of given me a couple of resources. And I've been in close contact with my old supervisor in Concord, who is also CTRS, who kind of gave me a lot of the building blocks to build these intake assessments and things like that. So yeah, I'm the first one to admit when I don't know something, I will easily lean on somebody else who does. So
Right.
so yeah, so I definitely have those people to lean on, which has been very helpful. So
Right.
and I think from a state perspective, as I think we're kind of getting into that, as you kind of alluded to, Roger, was that I feel like some departments are farther along than others, but we've been kind of using each other as a talking board and springboard to get these programs going. Because for many years, rec was just summer camp, aquatics, and that was it. And there was no conversation really about inclusion or varying ability programs. So we're getting there. And my hope is that, you know, probably not anytime soon, but when I retire from recreation many years down the line, most rec departments will have inclusion programming and all these procedures that, you know, we've been kind of starting to focus on. So
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reflecting back to my son's experience in Grafton Recreate summer camps. You know, and he's 30 now, but I think for sure there was very little attention paid at that time to any strategies for, you know, including kids who might not be typical. And I'm thinking not just of kids who might need a physical accommodation, but for sure the growth in kids on the autism spectrum. You know, how do you, and you know, I'm sure you've thought about this, but I think, you know, when we think about inclusion, it's not just things around physical disability, you know, accessibility, or you know, vision or hearing accessibility, but perhaps maybe one of the more challenging populations that you might see, particularly among, you know, starting with the youngest kids, is kids who are kind of on that spectrum. And you know, what are the best strategies for including them? So I'm sure you've given some thought to this, but just
yeah, no, that's, you know, my goal is hopefully we haven't finished the budgets yet for this year. Is eventually I'd love to make some inclusion part of our department. You know, how can we have a staff member that's solely dedicated to making sure everyone feels included? You know, it's a big ask, you know, for when we're doing a bunch of other things to be able to, you know, carry our attention to, you know, inclusion. But, you know, my hope is that we'll eventually get there. And I hope that, especially with, you know, with summer camp, you know, I think, you know, a big proponent of summer camp is, regardless of anybody's ability, be it physical or intellectual, is that everyone should have an experience to be at camp. And it shouldn't look any different than a neurotypical child or anything like that. So I grew up with camp's my thing. So like I said, but again, we want to be intentional. So it's like, it's that catch-22, right? So, but my hope, we'll get there. And like I said, appreciate all the help and support we can get from all of you. So.
Fantastic. All righty, gang. Again, Adam, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here and commend you for your efforts all to date. And again, yeah, please be a regular. You know, I can't stress that enough. Send the emails whenever, you know, we can add you to agendas very easily, certainly. But even if it's, you know, sort of off cycle, we've managed to pull together an emergency meeting once in a while. If it's you know, something where we all need to come together or what have you. So yeah, please be a regular.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for taking
Fantastic.
the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Have a good night.
Thank
You
you.
too. All righty, gang. Good stuff. All right. Backwards in time. External correspondence. Item number 2, we are again, don't have any. So, meeting minutes. I'll give Christy a minute to pull up our last round. And as Christy's doing that, I would happily take a motion. Oh, yeah.
If you could allow
Oh.
me to share the screen, I'm ready
I'm
to
so
go.
sorry.
It's
I
okay.
thought you popped straight in today as a panelist. I actually thought,
That I was a host,
well, yeah.
that I'd have special
Christine.
privileges. Nope, not yet.
I swear this changes every single time.
Not yet.
Mm-mm.
Maybe Roger can do it.
I know. I'm
Zing.
not even kidding. Just to see if that did it.
Okay, let's see. I'm in.
You
Okay,
are?
here we go.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay,
That was
now you
interesting
can
to me,
go
and that
ahead.
was
I'm
allow multiple
off.
people
I'm
to.
awful at screen sharing. I'm not the expert. I'm the anti-expert.
Okay, I'll let you do the motion.
Sorry. Yeah, so I'll happily take a motion to approve our meeting minutes from November 14th, I believe it was.
So moved.
We
Second,
have a second. Perfect. Thank you, folks. All right. Any discussion?
So these
I
were
like
one
to
of
s-
the
Oh, look at that.
longest
There's
ones
a lot
ever.
today. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Catherine.
Just make sure you're double checking on just the new name.
Yep.
I've noticed there's a few doors in there still, but that's whatever.
Yeah.
Where? I know, 'cause I have
Um,
it here.
Is it this one or is it the
I
other
think
one?
they were in some of the comments, Christy. I
In
I
the
did
the
come across a few.
conversations.
Oh,
You
because
could
I
probably
was,
just do a find replace on it. So
There's one.
there it is.
at least the initial's the same.
Wait, did
You
you
don't have to worry
actually get
about that.
married? Did you?
Yes, at the end of October. Yes.
Congratulations.
Okay, just looking real quick. By the way, this was
Yeah.
like doing a soap opera story script. You know, and not that
You did it well, Christy.
I mean, no, because we all wanted to weigh in. Everyone was
Yep.
really good about this. Let me
I
just
think
make
that
sure.
was the only one.
Yeah, but let's just make sure because I feel
Yeah.
like I have my eye.
No, there's one more toward the end.
And let me just put former recreation direct. Let me just add recreation here. Okay. Mhm.
There it is.
No, yeah.
Oh, yep. Got it.
I think that was it.
Okay, Catherine Dupuy.
Yay.
Just
Got
got
it.
my new social security card, so it's official. So
Nice.
All right. Somebody else had chimed in and I didn't see who it was, so I apologize. Mr. Trahan, I see a
No,
hand.
actually, I didn't chime in, but I didn't see anyone else,
Oh.
chiming into your question. But did anyone say that Leora's name is spelled Liora from
Oh,
CPAC?
no.
It's not Leor. We were talking Leora Brom, right?
Let me go back. Yep, and that could be. Here it is.
Yeah, Lio. Yeah.
Thank you. And let me put Brahm in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Looks like you have one word in there a little bit down that's got a red underline, so I don't know if like it's a. No, not that. Go down a little bit.
Okay.
Right there.
There it is. 2 words. Thank
Oh.
you. And I'm going to make that a question. Thank you.
So silly. Oh, yeah. Not even worth it. There were a couple after the colons when you were introducing a speaker that some of the letters weren't capitalized. Really not a big thing, Christy.
Oh, I know. Hey, believe me, I can't believe how how much I typed this meeting. I feel like I was the
It was, no, it's
court
amazing, Christy. Are you kidding?
transcriptionist.
These
Yeah.
are impressive.
No, absolutely. Very
Yeah, but
thorough.
there
There were
was
bits
so
I was like,
much
oh yeah,
good-
I forgot about that.
But there was so much good stuff. I felt if I didn't put it down, because we rarely have someone with such a convincing,
Right.
passionate argument for something, and I want to make sure it got captured so that people would never have a excuse that that's just one parent, no, this is really like the specifics she
Mhm.
provided were very they really fleshed out all the issues that deal with accessibility from a parent's point of view. I wanted to make sure that was captured.
Yeah. And to the same end too, I thought that Adam did a great job in terms of sharing, sort of his background, his experience, but also some of the efforts he had already taken too. It was, I thought, really nice to have those included in the minutes. So that it's all showing that effort and that department has already started moving forward prior to, us even entering this discussion really in vain. So yeah, it was good stuff. So that was all I had. Anybody else on the minutes? Fantastic. All right. Well, that being said, by roll call, I'm sorry, and I'm going to go top to bottom on my screen so I don't miss
Oh, wait.
anybody.
Let me
Oh,
stop the share. Hold on. There we go. That way we can see
Oh, that's
everybody.
good. I had everyone lined up on the side. Always worry about missing somebody. All right. So, all right, Christy, you're first.
Okay. Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Roger,
Aye.
Alexis,
Aye.
and Bob.
Aye.
And Rob is an aye as well. With that, I declare the motion carried. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to nothing. Woo!
Great.
Get that out of here. All right. Web page content. I know Roger had come across it. I had actually just received an email, I think it was like a day or two before, from William, noting that William has made the updates to the AAC webpage. So there's the awesome laundry list down the side. I had not, and it was absolutely on me, reached out about the Mass Rehab Commission changing its name to Massability when he did that.
It's changed. It's
I
changed.
know. I did follow up with him since. He literally same day changed it in both places where we had listed it. So I believe it is all said and done. Certainly, if I didn't see any errors. Oh, Alexis, please.
I think it needs a little tweak.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
when you some of it's minor in formatting, like sometimes things are italicized and sometimes they're not. I saw it, I was really excited to see it. I thought I want to go and look at each thing and each link and just make sure that some of it's just like there's a little funny formatting stuff, but I actually, when I looked at the whole list, I would move up disability serving agencies a little higher. It's a long list and people might kind of not realize that, like, at least on my screen, I couldn't see the whole list. You have to scroll down to see the whole thing. And in our document, Massachusetts Disability Serving Agencies is later, but I might move that up. We might want to just look at the order. That was one thought I had. So, everybody should look at it. There were, again, a few little tweaky things that I thought could be changed, but that was one thought I had.
Alexis, is it out there now? Like if I went to the town
I
website?
found it. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
It's
Mr.
there.
Chair, can I
Okay.
share my screen?
Oh, by all means,
I
Mr.
was gonna
Berger.
say, I'll look it up, but yeah, if Bob can do it, that'd be great. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, it's live.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
We can.
Yeah.
This
So
is it.
I got there.
This is the screen.
Keep going. You're gonna see.
Oh,
Yeah,
This is
just
our
right down the
stuff,
left.
80. This is all of our content is there. And you
Yep.
click on them, you get to
Oh,
each of
so
the.
it's all in the left hand. And it's funny, I was there today getting the meeting minute
Yeah.
packet. Oh,
And
that's
Bob, if you could, just so
hysterical.
everyone can see, can you just pick a random one, Bob? It doesn't matter which one, and just click on it so everyone can just see how it functions.
Yeah, let's look. Oh, that looks nice.
It
Yeah.
does.
Right, so this is that,
it
like, that
does.
second level. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
yeah.
I'm impressed. Yeah,
I love it.
yeah. So, Alexis, I hear absolutely what you're saying. And that was something I think we all struggled with, right, as we were initially putting it together and then collectively talking about and discussing it. I mean, there's just so much, it's hard to sort of know
Mhm.
what needs to be prioritized, right?
He
Almost.
he alphabetized it. I can see it now.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had not noticed that
Was
either. I
it?
actually
I
thought it
didn't
had the
think it
same.
was alphabetized.
It's
'cause-
alphabetized.
All right. So
So,
we should look at it and maybe think about what order, because there's also some of the town specific stuff comes first, like,
Right.
asking for an accommodation or, and then it's
Right.
all the just, so, just from a order perspective, if people have to scroll all the way down, they might not see everything. Unless we can
Alright,
like
Mr.
send a
Chair,
blast
on
like,
the other hand,
whoa, check out the Accessibility Advisory Committee's webpage.
Mr.
There's
Chair,
cool
on the
stuff
other
there.
hand, it's alphabetized, so I don't know if you want to mess with the order now. So that's
I'm okay
something
messing
that
with
you
it if
really have to think about.
because I mean, here's the thing though, Bob, it sort of by way of counterpoint, right? It's by topic, and I don't know if everyone would, how do I say this? Would imagine the same topic words that we chose, as opposed to just when you see it, you're like, oh, that's the one I need, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can see it both ways. And sorry, Roger, you had your hand up.
For people with
No.
disabilities, you want it alpha order. For people with visual disabilities, you need a sequencing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Roger.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I was just going to comment that this new format of the quote unquote new website in the past couple of years, I'm wondering if when whoever's entering it, it just does it automatically. I'm wondering if whoever did it and then processed it, I don't know if it was William,
It is William. Yeah.
it may have done it on its own. He may not have intentionally put it in alphabetical order. Maybe that's part of the programming.
It is certainly possible. I will say though, we did have the town stuff at the top. Like that was a couple of those, the
Right.
quick bits because they were related to town activities. Although one of them, and I'm just forgetting off the top of my head, was actually already there. I think it was a request
Yeah,
accommodation.
there were
We already
some
had
of the
that.
stuff. Yeah, some of the stuff is already there. I was just looking at it purely from
Yep.
kind of the user perspective and what, if
Right.
I'm going to the accessibility website, what are the content areas people might be most interested in, and
Yeah, for
particularly
sure.
because Massachusetts Disability Serving Agencies kind of fell
Right.
way down. I thought, oh, do we want to elevate that? I hadn't even recognized that they were alphabetical, and maybe there's a valid reason for having them alphabetical. I thought, this is the order we want them in.
Right. Right. And one way to fix that too, and Bob, I'll get you in one second. One way we could even think about not fixing it or what have you, is manipulating it, maybe is a better word, is also just changing what we title some of those categories so that,
Yeah.
right, rather than like state serving agencies, which is NES, which will bury it down at the bottom. There's probably a better Massachusetts, alone just pulls it up to the M's, etc. And Bob?
I'm on the planning board webpage and they broke that rule. So it's
Okay.
not alphabetized on the planning board's webpage.
Mhm.
Okay.
And if you wanted to change the order, if you had to, you could put numbers in front of whatever category in the order you want, and then you can filter it that way.
Mhm.
We did have it that way.
You might have.
Once upon a time. But anyway, yeah, so like I said, I think it makes great sense. We should keep an eye on it. Try and honestly play around with it. I think would be my my big suggestion, and see what actually feels right and what works. And Christy, I think you make a good point. If alphabetizing it is in fact the right way to do it, then again, maybe it is rethinking what we've titled some of those categories so that we can prioritize ones that actually might be a little more meaningful, so that they don't get sort of buried if they ought to be, one of the higher, or higher on the list, the top of the list items. Different ways we can play with it, but yeah, but that's a good point, Alexis. I do think it's worth playing around a little bit and seeing what folks think, but it is exciting one way or the other to have it all finally there and available, and all the clicks all seem to work. Roger, did you actually try all of them?
I didn't try all of them.
But-
Well, actually, I did click on each of them, but didn't go further into
Okay.
each link. So I looked on what the links looked like, and it just looks very functional. In other words, if someone is going to go there for one thing, I think it will pique their curiosity to really stay there,
Right.
and really peruse that. Plus, with the rollout, with the select board, I don't know if you want to vote on this or whether it's ready to be rolled out, but I think that's a perfect venue to really, at a high level, roll this out
Yep.
and let the community know, on the various websites, Facebook pages and things like that.
Sorry, folks, didn't catch that one in time. So agreed, Roger. So that was the other agenda item under this topic, was to talk about how we want to sort of announce it or get the word out. I had included in the meeting packet, there were the policy for both getting on public access television as well as the select board agenda. Just so procedurally we had that information on hand in case we needed to refer to it tonight. So I do think, we've talked about this, I know, multiple times already. I do think it makes really good sense to, at the very least, have one or more of us go to the select board, present the information so that the community at large will probably hear a little bit more than the folks who are tuning into us tonight. I do personally think that we're at a place where I would be comfortable doing that announcement or having that rollout occur. Even if we do end up making some changes, I don't think they're going to be drastic. I think it'll be more sequential or, minor tweaks versus sort of an upheaval, of what is already there. So I think, if we keep waiting for perfection, it's never going to happen. Let's just go announce it, and then, if it changes a little bit from one time to the next visit, no one's going to be too, I think, hopefully turned off. Mr. Berger?
I
Sorry, there
think you need to do a PSA in cable TV.
So, and there's no reason we can't do both. Right? I wholeheartedly agree. And again, I had included the information on policy for actually coordinating that effort. But yeah, so I don't know, folks. It could be one motion. We could do two motions, probably make life a little bit easier for at least Christy and whoever's helping word it. But we could I'd happily take motion to have, I'll just say generically, maybe members of the AAC present at an upcoming select board meeting to announce the update to our webpage. If that's simple enough, if we need to modify that at all, but
I don't think you have to modify that. So moved.
we
Second.
have
Second.
Sorry, Roger beat you out
Who's
tonight, Paul.
second?
Roger second.
Roger got the
Okay.
second.
EBS to
All
it.
right. All right, so select board, any conversation, discussion on that topic?
And in the
Oh, sorry, yeah, Alexis,
Well-
please.
full confession, I don't think I read the part about how we get on the select board agenda.
No, that's perfectly fine. I don't think that thing got posted until this morning.
Yeah,
So long story short, it's just basically we need to put it in writing and reach out. I think it needs to include the TA's office. I think it just said TA. I don't think it even said TA's office, but goes through the town administrator, and we have to do it a week prior to. so that they have enough notice to get us
Yeah.
on the agenda. What I would be really interested in hearing would actually be a little conversation on the timing. Are they meeting next week?
First and third Tuesday, what is,
Right. Yeah, today's the
next
second
week.
Tuesday.
but you would need to get those in
Right.
by Thursday
Tomorrow.
noon?
It's Wednesday. They noted as Wednesday, so it would be tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay.
Would we aim
And it's
for
also right
this
before the
month or-
holiday. I
Or
don't know if that means
January?
people kind of check out, yeah, a little bit.
Can I just ask, did you say that you have to write the letter? You know, I understand the timing, but it's addressed to the TA, not the select board?
So it says, let me make sure I'm reading the right one here. I'm on the wrong one. Give me 1 second. There we go. Items must be approved by the chair of the select board prior to the placement on the agenda. They must be reviewed with the town administrator.
Oh.
And they must be submitted no later than 12 noon on the Wednesday prior to the meeting. And then you have to have appropriate documentation and backup information must be submitted to the town administrator's office no later than 12 noon on the Thursday prior to the meeting. So we, I guess, have a little bit of buffer if we wanted to, get a quickie email off to the select board, CCing the TA tomorrow morning to get on the agenda, and then we'd have to have the documentation together for the following day for the TA's office, if I'm reading that correctly. And then, like I said, my follow-up question would just be how many people are tuning in to select board next week, because we're getting close to the holiday.
Mhm.
And do we serve ourselves and the community better by waiting until, right after the first of the year?
I just wonder also if we all want to take a look at it.
Breath.
Do we all want to feel good? I mean, I think it looks good. I think we, but does everybody want to kind of spend a little time on the site
Fair.
clicking around and just, I certainly didn't make sure that every link worked. And I don't know that necessarily that it needs to be perfect to bring it to the select board, but I'm just asking whether we want to
Mhm.
have a little bit of time as a group to do that. And,
Yeah, that's fair.
I assume it will be edited over time anyway, but
And,
either way, it's
and
fine.
invariably, yes.
Like I said, when we first started this adventure, that webpage is a living document. It's never gonna stay the same. It's
Right.
always gonna change and grow. So
Right.
my opinion, get the word out there as soon as you can. Because even if there's information that is good today, somebody might need it today, and if they don't know, then they just miss that
Mhm.
information. Rob, you are right. They are quiet tonight.
It's unusually quiet.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Other thoughts? I sort of have one wait a little bit, maybe. One might as well just bite the bullet and push it through.
I think don't we have a motion in a second or?
Yeah,
We have a
do.
motion in a
We're
second. We don't have a
discussing.
date.
Oh, I know.
We don't
I
have
just
a-
don't, I didn't remember.
Yeah, no, this is discussion because we don't have a date associated.
Yeah,
for
what are
when-
we aiming for, right? We agree
Right.
in principle, we agree with the motion.
Amen, right.
Let's get on their agenda. It's just, do we want to get it on it for next week or wait till January?
Wait till January.
I'd say wait till
I
January.
suggest,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it feels a little rushed.
a little, yeah, I'm right there with you. Very good. All right, so then, do we need to modify the motion? Or can we just all
Oh.
assume we're all good?
Because you
It's
never put it
let me
January.
in.
reread it to you all.
Okay,
Mr. Berger made a motion for members of the AAC to announce the creation of the AAC webpage to the select board. Mr. Roger Trahan seconded. And then I have a lot of discussion, but that's not the point.
Do we want to say something about, can I offer a slight rewording of the motion, like to seek to be get on the agenda of the select board sometime in January? Because they might have an agenda and they're like, no, you're too full, we got to bump it to, right? They meet twice a month.
Correct.
So our goal would
Typically.
be to get on their agenda in January.
Okay, I can do that. seeking to get on the
modify-
agenda for January. Okay,
I'll modify my motion. Roger, unmute.
January 20th.
Second.
All right. And then procedurally, we need to vote on the modification or the amendment. Is it amendment or modification?
We haven't voted on anything yet, so we're fine.
Right, right. But
Okay.
procedurally, do we have to vote on the modification first?
I think, Mr. Chair, I think you can just seek unanimous consent. And if everyone agrees that it's modified, just,
Perfect.
you don't necessarily need to go through the procedure.
Excellent.
We sometimes
All
see
right.
that at town meeting, unless there's at least if one person objects, then you got to go through the procedure. But if you seek unanimous consent and everyone consents, then you can just move to the next step.
Perfect. So I'm asking then if we do have unanimous consent to modify the original motion with the addition of in January, as stated by Mr. Berger and seconded by Mr. Trahan. Do we have unanimous consent to move forward or to make that
Sure.
modification?
Yes.
All
I
right.
think you have to do roll call.
And then roll call for the actual motion now. Yeah.
Can I read
Right.
it one more time
what you meant?
just to make sure we're all,
Yes, please.
we all know what we're voting on? Okay, here we go. Mr. Berger made a motion to write a letter seeking to get on the agenda for the January 2024 Select Board meeting for members of the AAC to announce the creation of the AAC webpage to the Select Board.
All right. Discussion being completed. Let's take our little roll call. Miss Christy Proctor,
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Roger,
Aye.
Alexis,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and Rob is an aye. And that I declare the motion carried 7-0. Excellent, guys. Thank you. Thank you. That's part one. So part two would be for sometime in January for members of the AAC to make a public announcement with, and Bob, help me with wording on this, or create a public announcement with, or through GCTV. Is that the,
Correct. That's correct.
to again, announce the updates to the AAC webpage on grafton.com or something like that.
Sarah, I have,
It's good.
Oh,
can I ask my question? Sorry. Oh, wait.
well, do we have a motion?
I would rephrase that and I would
Okay.
say I authorize the chair to make arrangements with GCTV to produce and have GCTV air a PSA discussing the new updated web changes.
That works for me. Do I have a second?
I
I'll
second.
second it.
I think Paul got that one. Sorry.
Paul's got it. Yeah.
Okay. And any discussion now, Alexis?
Now I have my,
Yes.
I need Robert's Rules of Order.
I know.
I need one of those
We all
books.
do, Alexis.
So my question has to do with programming on Grafton TV, which I admit isn't the channel we typically go to when we're watching TV in the evening. But is it a PSA or is there a program on GCTV where it's like, hey, all things Grafton? Or is there kind of a program where not just, hey, we've got this information, but maybe a little bit more about, this is what we did and this is why we did it and what's highlighted and, maybe
So
that's
let me,
a PSA, but I'm wondering if there's like an interview
Mr. Chair,
program where you've
may
got a
I?
host who says like, hey, what's cool in Grafton right now?
Mr. Berger.
So when I envision this, it's going to be most likely Bob DeToma will be interviewing Rob on a PSA. So it's not
But
all
like a
things,
canned PSA.
it's not all things Grafton. It would be Rob and Bob in the studio, either in a couple chairs or standing up on the bar table, not standing up, but standing next to the bar table. And
That was
and
awesome
Bob,
visual, Bob.
right, and Bob will interview Rob, and then there could be, you know, in post-production, there could be some of the screen that they can showcase.
Okay, okay.
And I'm also envisioning this not being more than 3 to 5 minutes long, because once you go over a certain span, you now lose your audience.
Right. I guess I was thinking, when I think of a PSA, I think of like a commercial, like a 30-second spot that runs on, you know.
So
But
do you watch GCTV?
I just confessed, I almost never watch
Oh,
GCTV.
okay. Hey, does anybody
Probably
here
should
watch
start.
GCTV?
I do a little, yeah.
So did
I
you
don't.
see, I'm not plugging myself because I have nothing to do with it. Metro West did a PSA for inviting seniors for the Thanksgiving dinner. Did you see that PSA? So that was like 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm envisioning
Right.
Rob can do.
Yep. Yeah, no,
Does that-
that's great. I just.
Okay.
Excuse me, wanting clarity on what.
I don't
What
even
we're
know how to
talking about.
find it.
So Rob, I would suggest that
Yes, sir.
you could write yourself a little script too and
Script.
give it to Bob for some talking points.
Yeah, that makes it easy.
And we have $700. We could get cue cards too.
Oh, for God's sake. If I feed him the questions, I think we'll be fine. He
What-
can read off a sheet, right? He's not gonna look.
Yeah,
What did
cue
you
cards.
read up?
Well, they do have a prompter in the studio.
Oh, stop
A
it. Did they
teleprompter.
really?
Yeah.
How do I
Yes,
tune
you
it
do.
in? What,
You
I'm
go to-
on
What do you have? Do you have cable?
iSpectrum.
So you're 192 and 191.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just-
I'm also on the oversight committee.
Fantastic. All right, gang. Any further discussion on this one? All right. Hearing none by roll call. Christy Proctor,
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Roger,
Aye.
Alexis,
I.
Bob,
Aye.
and Rob is an aye. That I declare the motion carried 7-0. Fantastic. And Bob, do you know how long something like that would take, like the turnaround, like for me reaching out until we're talking about it's actually viewable on TV? Ballpark.
A week.
Okay. Okay.
That gives you
Yeah, just
plenty of time to get your beauty sleep, Rob, so you look really good for the camera. And remember, no
There's-
drinking or smoking the night before you get filmed.
Uh,
No
the-
salt intake either.
the beauty sleep won't make much
Coffee.
difference. You just get what you get. That's all it is.
Oh,
I think
But
too,
it'll
you need,
get the word out. It'll be fun. Bob's fantastic. I've had different discussions with him over the past year now. He's a good guy, so it'll be fun. Probably not quite, between two ferns or anything, but yeah. Catherine, thank you for at least you knowing what that was.
I know,
Oh, please.
that I know,
Oh, okay.
that I watch.
Paul, please go ahead.
you'll need to come up with a list of questions that you want to answer.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's sort of what Bob was alluding to with the script. So yeah, and make sure that Bob can lead me in the right direction.
Rob, get in touch with me tomorrow and we'll talk off.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Alexis.
Just
Yeah.
a question, do we want to do our presentation to the select board first before it goes on GCTV? Is there some sensitivity around the order of doing that?
Sure. But as soon as he gets it in the can, it's just gonna be sitting on the shelf ready to
Right.
go.
Okay,
oh yeah.
so it's not live.
No, it's not live.
No, and I think especially, and I think Bob, you'd said this already, so forgive me if I'm repeating, but because because they can go back in post-production and add actual like usage of the web page into it. You know, they can fold it in or have it come after, whatever makes sense, you know, visually and sort of, I guess, I don't even know, by the conversation, you know, fill it in that way. So yeah, I think
they'll probably do a soundbite as well that they can show periodically.
I don't know. Cool. Whatever they're willing to do, it only helps get the word out. Fantastic. All right, folks. Any other thoughts on that? All right, good stuff. All right, old business, and this will be fairly quick. Municipal ADA improvement grant. Pardon me. I did double check the MOD website as well as reached out to William Blake. William hasn't heard anything yet, which wasn't surprising. The MOD webpage actually had indicated that they were expecting to make announcement in December. So now we're sort of halfway through now, but you know, I will tell you things at the state don't always go that quickly. So, you know, hopefully by January we'll have had a response from the state one way or the other and know what's going on with that. Grafton Common, including exterior parking lot, the pavement. Bob, I haven't heard anything. Is there any? All right, just on I guess in terms of my agenda here, the common itself, the bandstand is completely done now. Is that correct? Oh, you don't know? Well, don't you? Aren't you the final sign off?
I am, but I don't know what they need signed off from me now.
Okay, well,
So
if
I
if
haven't
you
had
haven't done,
I haven't had word from anybody.
yeah, I guess my point would be if you haven't signed off, then they're not done.
Right.
So we'll keep it on there, which is perfectly fine. And then the I don't think you have anything to do with the parking area. Remember we talked about the handicap
No.
spot had the
Yep. No, you said you were gonna get in touch with
it was Evan, yeah, and he had responded, and he was sent enough to the highway department to look at it, and that was sort of, you know, went
Right.
off into the ether from there. But so I can check back in with Evan, and see if
Evan.
there are any updates. Alexis,
I don't know if this belongs with old business or it should be new
Okay.
business, but I did notice that there are some cracks in a couple of the benches on the common. I don't know if anybody's seen that recently, but just from an comfort and access, some of the slats, you know, those new benches.
Huh.
There's at least one, maybe two. I didn't look at the ones around the perimeter, but on the main path,
Interesting.
I walked by there a couple days ago, and some of the benches are cracked. Do not look
Yeah.
very comfortable for sitting, and perhaps are a safety issue. So I don't.
Right. That's an interesting one. Bob, do you know I don't even know whose jurisdiction those things fall under.
Evans.
Perfect. I'll send Evan an email.
Yeah.
It could be
I'm sure
park and recreation too.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Could be.
I wasn't sure if that was
because-
officially a park.
Could be. Could be.
I'll have to send him an email. He'll filter it down or out as needed. But good to know. That's disappointing though, because they were all new benches, right?
They're new.
Like after
Yeah.
all the rehabbing and
Yeah, but that's a couple of years old, so I don't know.
yeah.
You know, they're
Yeah.
not new anymore, but you know, depending on
Plus, they
the
went
cracking.
through a summer of a lot of rain, and I'm sure that didn't help.
No,
Right.
Rob, I have
All
some,
right, gang.
I have
Oh,
some
yeah.
old business while we're on here.
Oh yeah.
Just an update. So the assessor got a handicap accessible service window, and I'd have to say that's 90% done. We're just looking for a few minor details, like the cabinets don't have their doors because of shipping, and some corner guards on in. But other than that, it's 100% usable, and I think it looks really good.
Oh, that's
Anytime you're in
awesome.
town hall, take a walk by and check it out.
Yeah, I have to go check that out. That's so exciting. Yay. Do you know how long the those last couple of bits will take to get in?
It's all supply and supply. So,
yeah, so
you know.
like the library could be 6 months, could be a year.
Yeah, but it's not stopping them. It's not stopping them at all. They just don't have their cabinet doors on the inside.
Oh, got it, got it. Oh, that's awesome. Yay, awesome. Thanks, Bob.
You're welcome.
That's so nice hearing things get at least mostly finished. All right. Any other old business items, folks? Cool, cool. All right. So exciting.
And wait a
New
minute, Roger's got
business.
his hand up. I knew he would.
Oh, on the old business, or are you getting ready for the next one, Roger?
No, under old business,
Yeah.
has the group of you, I forget who agreed, would take in the year in thirds as far as the annual report. So just, I don't think we need to discuss it, just to keep that conversation fresh. That's all.
Did you forward copy? You were going to forward last year's report to, I think it was Alexis and I.
I think I did in Word.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you get it, Alex? I did.
I'll
I
send
don't
it again.
remember, Roger.
Okay.
I didn't see it, but
I can
you should
send
tell
it
me
again.
what
You
email
probably
you
did,
used.
Roger. It's been a month. Oh,
I
it's
use
actually,
okay, so I use R Trahan Jr. RTRAHANJR at Hotmail. I'm aging myself. Hotmail.com. I do have a Gmail account that I actually created just for shared documents for this commission, but I don't use it. It's not something I use to communicate. But it's a Hotmail account.
Yeah, I don't. What email did you use? I mean, I don't see it.
Okay, so what
Yeah.
I will do is, so you want that to Rob and Alexis, you two, or Christy?
yeah, I think that. Go ahead, Roger.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't matter. I can just email it to everyone in case. No, actually, everyone is not going to be working on it. So, was it?
Alexis and I think we were gonna split
Okay.
it a little ish.
Okay. It was nice to have a reprieve. I did 19, 20, 21, 20, 4 years.
Wait, what?
No, in other words, I did the last 4 reports I've penned, and we with only minor tweaks, and which is, I was like, you know what, I can let go of this thing. You know what I mean? But it just happened that it was fresh in my mind. I looked at the minutes and the, you know,
Yep.
in prior reports. There's some repeating themes, but you know, and such. But you know, everyone has their own writing style and how detailed or not they want it to be. I just want to let everyone know that I did it in, I forget what font. You'll see what font, but it was or script 16. I went with 16, not 14.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
it's actually quite noticeable. You know, when you look at the town report. When I first started reading these town reports in 2000, when I built here in town, I think the town report was like 125 pages. It may be up to 300. Even though, you know, regardless of us eating up a few extra pages with font size, the thing has become ginormous. So a lot of, bless you, a lot of committees, especially if they don't have budgets, they don't really necessarily, and maybe by design, they don't necessarily really dig in. But I just thought that aside from letting the public know what happened during the year, I think it's a good look back for new commission members as well, or prospective members can look back when we tell them, hey, listen, look at the last couple of annual reports. They're online, see what we do, and they can get a flavor of whether this is for them or not. So.
Totally agree. That's good stuff. Good stuff, and good to take it off your hands. We appreciate all the time you've given to this commission for sure.
Thank
But
you. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
you deserve the reprieve. Christy.
$20 to anybody who puts the word Barbie in their part of the report.
That's awesome.
I want that.
Alexis, see, Alexis, you said you were going to take the early part of the year, though. That's going to be the second half. I get that.
So,
Do we have pictures?
I know we should put
photographs?
pictures in.
Oh, we should. We've never had pictures in it, have we, Roger?
No, I don't think so. But there are pictures that I mean, I'm pretty sure that the town report has had pictures. Like, let's say there was a retiring council on aging person, or someone that worked in the, you know, in the senior center or something, I'm pretty sure that there have been pictures in the town report.
Hmm.
You know, and so I think, you know, it's not going to be color, it's going to be black and white, but people will get the flavor. I think it is a great idea. I didn't even think of that. That is a phenomenal idea. I think a lot of people, you know, kind of look at this without, you know, it's a very formal thing. I think we can have fun with this thing too, you know?
Well, just a picture of anybody with the dogs. That will be,
Oh, yeah.
Or wheelchair
just
Barbie.
Bring it to life.
yeah.
Yeah, bring
Or
it to
with
life a little bit.
Barbie, right? With Barbie would be nice.
I do concur. Good
Mm.
stuff, folks. So yeah, so Alexis, thank you in advance for the help on that, and Roger, thank you for the history, but also sending us the new ones or the last one, so that we've got the strong base to work
Yep,
from.
I'll do that in the Word. Yep. Yeah.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
the other thing
Oh,
is
yes.
regarding the town report. I think we had discussed a few meetings ago. Maybe you can put a bug in either Amber or William's ear to add the 2022 report to the town web page, but I'm not sure if it would be an extract up from the town report. I think I could also forward you the PDF with the town
Okay.
letterhead of the actual report. And then you can just forward it, rather than me forward it, too many cooks, you know, the kitchen is not
Sure,
good.
sure.
So I'll do that as well. And then because that's what's missing. The last one up there is 21 for the
Got it.
public. And so 22 needs to be placed up there. So
Can do. All right. Sorry, I'm making big highlights so I don't forget the follow-up items. Excellent. Can do, Roger. And again, thank you.
Thank you.
Really, you've done so much for this commission.
I
We
try.
appreciate that you're
It's a
actually
it's a
still with us.
labor of love. It's a labor of love.
That it is. All right, folks, last item. Well, almost last item, new business. And thank you to Mr. Trahan for catching this in advance. And I was not able to attend. I was actually a little down and out last week, but the select board um, had an agenda item to review the updated grievance procedure under the Americans with Disabilities Act. The policy, I did go back and watch the select board meeting. I don't know if anyone, Roger, did you see it?
No, actually, I missed
Okay.
it. I was doing something else.
Okay, and yeah, totally fine. I literally pulled it up online like yesterday morning, I think. But just by way of quick update for everyone, so William has been going through and updating policies in town, making sure they're in compliance with updated state statutes, et cetera. So I don't know what triggered specifically this one, but he had indicated during the select board meeting, and I hope I'm not sort of misrepresenting this at all, but that it just was sort of the next policy that he had spent some time updating, that it is in alliance or in alignment with the Americans with Disabilities Act and whatever state statutes correspond. He also stressed too that, and you guys can see this in the meeting packet, the original or the prior version policy was sort of embedded with some other material, but also the ADA compliance officer, Bob, was also separated out. So his contact information was actually not included in the body of the policy itself. It was a separate page where it basically, I think your appointment as that role was sort of the place where it was indicated who the ADA compliance officer for town actually even was, or ADA coordinator, sorry, for town even is. So the new policy has Bob's contact information. Basically, it's like right in the middle of the page, all collected together, and it lays out just a very specific sequence for who should be contacted, what the timelines are, et cetera. You know, sort of the standard stuff. But so I've included the original, or I keep saying original, the prior policy that had been approved back in, I think it was like 20. Flipping through, give me 1 second.
May I share it, Rob? I have it right
Oh,
here.
yeah, if you've got it up, that would be
Yeah.
fantastic. Oh, because I could have the names. on the people who signed it, but it was, I think it was approved in like 2020. It might have even been a little bit before that. Um, and so that is the prior one, and then um, the new one. Oh, sorry. And then following this, the next page after this has where sort of the page that included where Bob's actual contact information and everything was all included. So again, it was sort of like pulled out into a separate page. The new one, which is the page after this one, Christy,
Mhm.
has all of that just again sort of in a nice pretty little bow, all tied together very cleanly. So anyway, William briefly presented the information, why he had done it, and then the select board unanimously voted to approve or adopt this new policy. So it is a done deal. This I actually pulled the
Wow.
version that you're seeing in front of you off of our website. Oh, Christy,
This is really bad.
this
Because
was approved, yeah, last week.
no, who did they talk to on council? Because you've got two different things that aren't, you've got two different types of grievances. You've got the employee grievance for failure to accommodate, and then you've got the discrimination, and there's no word of harassment here. That is based on harassment based on disability. So this is not a good policy. I'm just going to say it. It's not a good policy. But you said it's done. I'm shocked. This is really shoddy, and it doesn't keep us tight with adherence to the ADA, or for if a lawsuit or if a case of discrimination came forward, we don't have a great policy spelled out to protect us for a process. That's what I'm concerned about. But if it's done, it's done.
Well, not necessarily, but Mr. Trahan.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I think this could use tweaking in that I don't know if by design the select board just had I think there is a separate like harassment policy if you look at their policies, and it probably does speak to that, but yeah, in other words, that doesn't suffice to exclude it in this document. But I think, and it doesn't, I mean, you can't assume that someone is going to find the harassment piece in another document, but I think this is where our input in advance, I think would have been beneficial for them to move forward. I happened upon it and I mentioned it to you,
Yep.
Rob, and I was just surprised. I'm not saying there was any malice, but I was surprised that it didn't come to us first for a look-see.
And we're free, and we could have improved
Right.
it
We're
without
free.
having to pay $500 an hour for legal counsel. I mean, there's some basic. I mean, I wish Laura Deneen was here. She'd be all over this as a lawyer. I mean, this isn't specific enough. This doesn't give great process to the process. And when you get cited through the courts, they want everything spelled out with more specific language. This is hard to read.
So Bob, just out of curiosity, did they reach out to you at all about any of this? Mr. Berger?
No,
No, okay, sorry, missed it.
no.
Yeah. Yeah. So Christy, back
And
to your-
I watched the meeting too. I was a little surprised that, this came up without anybody's, overview of what they were doing. But, on the other hand, William is going and Evan is going through all the policies,
Right.
and they're just taking a overview and a look and revamping all the policies.
Right. Yeah.
Do-
Alexis?
Do we have any recourse or
Recourse.
any ability to sort of raise this concern? To say,
Yes.
we know you just revised the policy, but as the accessibility
We-
advisory committee.
After the fact, but that's what happens if we play it out this way. So yes, I do believe we do. And we talked about this with something else before, and I'm forgetting what, oh, the bylaws. Like, all these things can change, right? They can represent one next week and replace this one if it, if they needed to or wanted to. So I do think that there's plenty of room for us to, and it was sort of, we could talk about the best way to do it, but provide feedback probably through William, and then let them, take it back to the board and just say, hey, it was pointed out there were some omissions or corrections or whatever the right word is, and let the select board review it and make a decision on the revised version of it versus the one that's currently in play. But yeah, but there's like Bob said, I mean, they're just sort of going through laundry list because I think a lot of our policies, procedures are just outdated and old, and yeah, it's a good thing to do. So that being said, I guess the question is, what do we want to do about it? Christy, you clearly have
I
a very
nominate
firm.
Christie.
How would that?
I nominate Christie.
Well, I say you have a very firm understanding of the reg, which doesn't mean it's got all it needs to sit on your shoulder, but certainly, I mean, it would make some sense to have folks with a stronger background in the ADA specifically to put heads together, review it, and then maybe come up with either a revised version or a laundry list of suggestions and set up a time to meet with William and go through those. Would be my thinking, but I don't, what do others think?
How
We
about,
make a motion.
well, no, I would just, I think we need just training overall for the town. And I feel like we're beating a drum here. But I really think we've got areas to address, and maybe we just pick one or two. We just don't try to do too much here, but maybe it starts with a conversation, because I don't want to offer something that they don't want. Let's be honest. They might just say, don't even bother, so I hesitate to even come up with suggestions before they even say, yeah, we're open to it. Because if they're not, I'm not going to want to waste my time, to be honest with you. I'd rather do a needs assessment and see if they really need or want the expertise. Bob, what do you think? I mean, the fact that they didn't even ask you tells me something too. So I don't want to assume too much.
I think that was MIA there for a minute. I think William's just a laundry list, and not taking a side at all even on it. Just I really think he's just going top to bottom, policy by policy. They're all numbered, and I think as he gets to each one, he just looks at again what the statutes are, et cetera. Whatever's relevant, makes updates if he feels like they are needed, and then if they're making or suggesting changes, they bring it to the select board, and that's that. I don't think there's too much more to it than that. And from my encounters with William, I think he would be happy to have the additional information and would be more than willing to, modify or update this as needed. I mean, and so I don't think it's necessarily a question of whether or not they want the feedback. If we know it's wrong, we're in a position to actually make it better and do something about it. So why not? Right? Even if they don't like it, Mr. Berger.
I think you should just have a phone call with William, Rob, and just talk to him.
And just go through it.
Well, no, just say you have the committee had a concern.
Okay.
Do you want to have a meeting? What do you want to do? Just put it out on the table.
Yeah.
Nothing is such an emergency that we have to jump on it right now. But you just want to make him aware that the committee has a concern and ask his advice. What do you want to do?
Yeah, that's a very nice strategy. Mrs. Dupuy.
I
was gonna say Catherine.
It is 8. I do have to go, but we're about wrapping it up anyway. So, okay.
Sorry,
See you next
Catherine.
time.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I'm absolutely game to do that. Seem like a good start for everyone?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Then I will happily accept a motion to have the chair call the assistant town administrator to discuss the recently updated ADA grievance procedure and discuss modifications or potential modifications. That's
So
a fair way
moved.
of saying it.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Alexis seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none by roll call. Christy Proctor,
Aye.
Paul Letourneau,
Aye.
Roger Trahan,
Aye.
Alexis Henry,
Aye.
Bob Berger,
Aye.
and Rob Bolsonelli, aye. And with that, I declare the motion carried 6-0. And noting that, sorry, Catherine left at 8:01, which I'm sure you already got, Christy, but thank you. Excellent. Deep breaths. And with that, our next meeting is slated for Tuesday, January 9th. Unbelievably, 2024. So it's actually incorrect on the agenda. So I'm just seeing that now. So everybody, it's wrong. 2024. Unbelievable. And I am happy then to take a motion to adjourn.
Before we do that, Rob, if you
Oh,
can
yes,
call
sir.
me, if you can call me at 11:30 tomorrow, we
Oh,
can.
you're open?
That's when I'm open tomorrow at 11:30.
Give me one sec. I can do that.
All right, call me in the office.
Perfecto. Fantastic. All right. With that, happily take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Berger,
Second.
do I have a second? Mr. Letourneau seconds. And by roll call, Christy Proctor,
Aye.
Paul Letourneau,
Aye.
Roger Trahan,
Aye.
Alexis Henry,
Aye.
Bob Berger,
Aye.
and Rob Polsinelli, aye. And with that, I declare the motion carried 6-0.